Mom and Dad always want me to know how great America is. So, we're always seeing historic things and beautiful places all around America. But I don't know. The way things are going, I wonder what it'll be like when us kids get big. We got a right to the same kind of America they had, don't we? So come on, everybody. Give us kids our chance.
Hi, folks. This is Peter Boykin from #GoRight. We got a couple of news articles to talk about today. The newest life-saving medicine, quote, life-saving medicine, has never been tested on humans. And also a anti-Trump FBI agent was escorted out of the bureau. That's some concerning issues. So we'll be right back after the intro, and we're going to talk about this, okay? We'll see you soon.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening to this, and please share it everywhere. Again, this has been #GoRight with Peter Boykin, a part of GoRightNews.com and a part of the GoRight Network.
Hi, folks. This is Peter Boykin from #GoRight. And go to GoRightNews.com and check out our news and donate there and help us out to get the site going, because I spend about $50 to $100 a month doing all of this, not counting the time put into it. Before we talk about the main subjects, let's talk about a few things. 8.5 million Americans are behind on rent, and 3.8 million are likely to be evicted. That's the truth, folks. That is the absolute truth. Also, half of Americans in the United States, they are on the brink of not being able to pay for their utilities. Utilities are high. My dad just called and told me that the utility bill was like 4 times the amount it normally is. It's crazy. He says just when he thought he could get ahead, things sucker punch him in the stomach. Meanwhile, Biden will deliver a primetime address to support Dems in the midterms, doing his contractual duty of sealing the death wish of death kiss on anybody running as a Democrat. And on this day in 1967, which day you're listening to or in the future or the past or whatever, Thurgood Marshall became the first black Supreme Court justice, although some Democrats, like I think Schumer, forgot. So the Justice Department said it's already identified and reviewed a limited set of records that potentially include attorney-client privileged information among the documents seized from Mar-a-Lago, according to the Washington Examiner. I want to know if Donald Trump got his passports back, and what the hell were they doing there to begin with? Meanwhile, Joe Biden announced his intent to appoint MSNBC analyst Jeremy Bash, who insisted Hunter Biden's scandalous laptop was Russian disinformation, to the president's Intelligence Advisory Board. This is according to Fox News. Speaking of Russia, sadly, Mikhail Gorbachev, who I thought had already passed away a while time ago, he actually passed away today. I think he was 81, 91. Brings you back to the old Reagan era. He's the guy with the bald head with the map of the United States on his head. Great guy. Helped end the Soviet Union as it was. Too bad that it's now been taken over by whatever the hell they are now, run by Putin. Meanwhile, the makers of a dramatic Apple TV Plus thriller starring Natalie Portman were forced to suspend filming in Baltimore after local drug dealers threatened to shoot up the set unless they were paid $50,000. Wow. You had to pay off the drug dealers so you can shoot a movie about some other crap. I don't know. Meanwhile, Joe Biden was warned against enacting a large-scale student loan forgiveness program by the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and First Lady Jill Biden, but encouraged to press forward by the Vice President Kamala Harris and top Democratic senators, according to a new report. It was the Washington Examiner. We've talked about this. I don't really have a problem with this. If you think about the economics, it really doesn't hurt as bad as people claim they said, but that's a whole nother subject. Meanwhile, NASA's scheduled launch of its unmanned space flight to the moon was halted after engineers discovered a fuel leak. That's according to the Daily Wire. I hate to bring up the thing, but how many people do you believe that we went to the moon in 1969? Did we? Who knows? Meanwhile, militants have hired rockets at Baghdad's fortified green zone, and sporadic clashes between Shia groups have taken place in the city, following a night of violence in which up to 20 people were killed and more than 300 wounded. That's according to The Guardian. Let us pray that we are still a nation where we don't have to worry about everyday fighting, even though people talk about the Civil War. All right, so the flu virus. This is probably something that'll get me banned a little bit or kicked off of YouTube or God knows whatever they do. The newest COVID bat jab has never been tested on humans. The so-called life-saving medicine never been tested on humans. This is also published on GoRightNews.com. The Biden regime is ramping up their pressure campaign for the newest COVID booster shot, as the FDA is expected to approve it. But there's one big problem. It's been never tested on humans. Now let's back up. This newest COVID booster is made with the same mRNA technology used in the previous Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, but the formula is modified to offer protection against the Omicron variant. Now, why wasn't it tested on humans? In a rush to get the vaccine out to the public, the regime will forego human testing and instead rely on data from trials in mice. It also claims that since it's just tweaking the original recipe, the original recipe is already basically making people have heart attacks and other issues. But nobody will let us know that because, you get banned for saying that. But that doesn't mean I agree with it, folks. There's just been enough information out there. Hint, hint. Okay, new trials aren't needed, according to them. The FDA Commissioner Robert Califf compared it to the approval process for the flu vaccine. Quote, FDA has an extensive experience with reviewing strain changes in vaccines, as is done with annual flu vaccines, which they get you to take every year, but they miraculously disappeared for the last 3 years when they were bugging you about washing your hands and taking a flu virus. But we don't do that anymore, apparently. Now, that's bad science, according to Johns Hopkins Dr. Marty Makary, who points out that COVID vaccines are very different from the flu vaccine and sees red flags in trying to treat them as the same. Or is it? Or is this really just the China flu? The flu vaccine is a traditional vaccine platform, not an mRNA vaccine. 1 in 5,000 doses of existing COVID vaccines have serious adverse effects, according to a study published by Germany's version of the FDA. Not me saying it, Germany's version of the FDA. It's facts, according to them. By comparison, the flu vaccine has roughly 1 in 100,000 serious adverse reactions. Now, Dr. Robert Malone, who's been kicked off of all sorts of things before, who made headlines earlier this year when he woke up the world on the risk of the COVID vaccine on Joe Rogan's podcast, had this to say about the new booster. He said, they're testing it only on mice. That is an immunologic nonsense, and everybody in the vaccine industry knows that the immune response in mice is very different than the ones in humans. Now, get ready, folks, because come September, come soon, whatever, you're going to see a new pressure campaign from the government and private businesses to get you to take this mouse vaccine. Source of this is New York Post, Dr. Marty McKay, and Dr. Robert Malone. But social media probably will not let you see this. Meanwhile, folks, an anti-Trump FBI agent was escorted out of the bureau. The FBI field director who oversaw the Hunter Biden laptop investigation and opened the investigation into Donald Trump that culminated in the raid on Mar-a-Lago was reportedly escorted out of the bureau headquarters after FBI whistleblowers alleged he injected his political bias into politically sensitive investigations. Now, the details are Tim Thibault, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, was special agent in charge at the D.C. field office, and according to first-hand witnesses, he was seen exiting the Bureau's elevator, escorted by 2 or 3 headquarters-looking types. Now, Thibault reportedly hid his anti-Trump political bias from FBI Director Chris Wray and AG Merrick Garland, who's seeking their approval to open the Trump investigation. Now, Hunter Biden's laptop. Thibault oversaw the Hunter Biden laptop investigation during the lead-up to the 2020 election. And Senator Chuck Grassley revealed that Thibault said, quote, ordered the matter closed without providing a valid reason as required by FBI guidelines, and subsequently attempted to improperly mark the matter in FBI systems so that it could not be opened in the future. Kind of shows there's something going on here. Now, the big picture, it feels like the FBI is making Thibault their fall guy. Now, I wouldn't believe for a second that this guy was the mastermind behind every political biased move the FBI has made since 2016. But this does go to show you that our side, the right side, the Go Right side, is winning the public relations campaign versus the corrupt FBI. The source of this is Just the News and Human Events. This is Peter Boykin from hashtag Go Right. This is hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin of GoRightNews.com. Give your suggestions. Share this. Thanks for tuning in. God bless everybody. And thanks. Thanks for listening to Go Right with Peter Boykin. Please like this post, and please subscribe and follow and share this podcast to all your social media accounts, and visit GoRightNews.com for more Go Right News with Peter Boykin. If you like what you hear, help support the podcast by donating. The link to donate is on GoRightNews.com. Thank you for your support.
Check out this news story and more on GoRightNews.com and the podcast hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin.
Go right and register to vote. Your vote matters, so vote. Go right and vote. Hashtag Go Right. Go right. Do right. Be right. Go right. Do right. Be right. Lead right. Think right. Vote right. Vote right. Think right. Lead right. Hashtag Go Right. It's time to join the Go Right movement. It is time to hashtag Go Right for America. Join us at GoRight.us and GoRightNews.com. It is time for the Great American Revival, and it is time to hashtag Go Right for America.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening to this, and please share it everywhere. Again, this has been hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, a part of GoRightNews.com.